It's time for Where You Live with Gene and Tony, the show that's all about owning, buying, selling, renting, and association management. If it involves a home, we'll talk about it. Here's your chance to get your homeowner questions answered. From the Concierge Landscape Studios, here's Gene and Tony.
Needed the shelter of someone's arms, and there you were. Needed someone to understand my ups and downs.
Good morning and welcome to Where You Live. I'm Gene Sullivan. You know, over the last couple weeks, we've had some callers who have been calling into the hotline no less, and they've been asking the question, where's Tony Crockett? Is she okay? Well, I'll ask that question. Where is Tony Crockett?
Well, I'm sitting right here, Gene.
Oh, yes.
Right across from you.
There you are.
Here I am.
Isn't it nice to be missed?
It is nice to be missed. I'm glad somebody noticed.
Yes. So where have you been?
Oh, I've been,
You're on vacation.
I was on vacation. My assistant was on vacation. My spouse was in the hospital for a procedure one day. So, yeah, it just kind of all came at once here.
Life came
Life
in all
intervened,
once.
yeah.
Yes. Well, folks, welcome to Where You Live. We're broadcasting from the Natural Green Lawn and Landscape Studios. Remember, Natural Green is a locally owned and operated lawn and landscape care company, and their mission is to use the most environmentally sensitive products available to keep your lawn and landscape looking lush, beautiful, while still healthy for both people and pets. Now, whether you choose their organic program or their traditional program, rest assured, they are always using horticulturally sound principles for great results. Of course, you won't have much to do with the lawn now anymore, but if you want them to handle the snow plowing and shoveling as well, give them a call, 763-213-2410. We're also brought to you by Extreme Exteriors and American Family Insurance, the Kim Bennett Agency. We've got a lot to cover on the show today. We're going to be dealing with an interesting case about a sex offender who is suing the homeowners association where he lives because they're saying he can't live there. We're also going to be dealing with answering a question. Someone asks, even if I disagree with the board of directors, am I still required to pay special assessments? Oh, I think people probably know the answer to that one already, but we'll talk about that.
We can still discuss it.
You bet. And then also another interesting story a little bit later, too. People have been claiming that pets are service animals, and because of that have been getting exemptions where they normally wouldn't. Well, there is a story we're going to report where the writer is saying they think that this is happening more and more, and that maybe some of these might actually be fake. They might actually be fake.
Oh, man. Can you imagine?
Do you think that's true, Tony?
We'll talk about it.
We'll deal with that. That and so much more. But right now, it's time to begin with property management in the news. Property management in the news is brought to you by Home Furniture and Abbey Floor Coverings. Their showrooms are staffed with professionals who will help you choose what you need to fit both your lifestyle and budget. Whatever you need, chances are they'll have what you're looking for. Now, if you wish to avail yourself of special pricing and discounts you're not going to find anywhere else, all Where You Live listeners can call Customer Service Coordinator Lori Matson at 952-224-2663. That number again, 952-224-2663, and ask for your Where You Live with Gene and Tony special pricing. Well, let's begin with this first story, and this is out of Austin, Texas, and the story is where there is a sex offender who says the condominium association is barring him from living there at the association, and they feel that they have the right to do that. We are going to talk about this story, and whenever we do, we want to trust some of the best legal minds that we know. And one of those people is someone who's been a guest of the show before, past president of CAI Minnesota chapter, John Eden of Levin and Eden. Hello, John.
Hello, Gene, Tony. Thanks for having me back. It's great to be here.
Hi, John.
Well, thanks for taking a few minutes to be with us on the show today. So let me kind of frame the story here, John. I'd like to get your thoughts on this. In Austin, Texas, apparently there's a gentleman, his name is Theodore Whipple. He and his wife have sued the Valley View Village Condominium Homeowners Association in federal court. He was convicted of a sex offense 20 years ago. Now, he and his wife have lived in the association since 2008. He's been, of course, long since out of prison. Has served his time, but recently there was something where he had failed to register. I think with his parole officer, failed something with parole, and so because of that, that caused him to go back into jail for a period of time. And I think that's when the association noticed, oh, wait a minute, this guy was a past sex offender. And they're saying, hey, our governing documents state we have the right to say no sex offenders at all.
Whipple can reside here,
and Whipple and his wife say, no, we think you're taking away our rights. Mm-hmm. What do you think of this?
Yeah, that's a pretty thorny issue because you can certainly understand the position of the homeowners association. I mean, people with kids obviously are concerned. People buy into CICs because, in a lot of cases, they think they're more secure. Mm. And also, I think there's a property value aspect to it as well. I think that if someone is a registered offender and that's known in the community, I think that really could impact property value. So
that's a good point.
You can understand the motivation. However, this being America, you can obviously assert claims to rights that are either established or not established. And in the U.S., I don't think that this issue has been very well hashed out. I've looked at it a bit, and I think that there's very few decisions. In Iowa, the Iowa legislature established a statute which required a 2,000-foot buffer barrier between a sex offender known to have abused children and any school or daycare center, and that
would be sufficient.
And well, that was brought to the Supreme Court, of the U.S. Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court refused to hear it. So that law stands. But in other states, there's a New Jersey decision where a bylaw provision restricting someone's right to sell to a sex offender was struck down because the court viewed that as a public policy issue. There was some discussion about where, if everybody does this, where is anybody going to live once they get out of prison? Because obviously they can't be housed forever.
Yeah.
Not really well decided, not much precedential effect for other states, and I think that anybody challenging something like this would do as Mr. Whipple has done here, would assert that my 14th Amendment rights are being violated, and my comment to that would be, well, a sex offender is probably not a protected class like minorities or something like that. So I don't know that would pass muster, but.
Of course, the part of that too with the 14th Amendment, he's saying part of the 14th Amendment says I am supposed to be allowed due process for something that's charged against me. If someone has gone through due process, and he's claiming I've served my time, so it's been considered that I've paid the debt to society. Why should there be any restrictions on me? That is breaking my constitutional right as an individual and a citizen of the United States.
Right, and I think that's where that gray area just pops up so blatantly. Yeah. I mean, there certainly is that argument that he's done everything he's supposed to do, but public policy mandates that we try to protect our citizens, and I think it was in the mid '90s. Federally, we allowed sex offender notification, and we established tiers, for offenders getting out of prison and going on to parole. Level 1, level 2, level 3. And in Minnesota and probably most other states, you can go on the internet and you can search that level 3 database, and you can find the most serious offenders and where they're living, and that's something that is public knowledge.
Yeah.
Now, in rental housing, this is a well-established issue. In rental housing, we do discriminate against people based on their criminal history. As you said, John, a sex offender or even a felon is not a protected class under the Fair Housing Act. So most landlords will have some kind of criteria like that. If you're a convicted felon or convicted felon within the last 10 years, something like that, you're not allowed to rent from us. But this is a different situation, I think, when we're talking about home ownership, where an association is already limiting the rights of the owners. Is this going a step too far when they start restricting the kind of person that can live there?
Before you answer that question, John, I'm looking at the clock on the wall. Looks like we need to take a quick break. You can stay with us another segment, can't you?
I sure can.
That's great. Folks, we're talking to attorney John Eden of Levin and Eden about this situation in Austin, Texas, with a sex offender who says his constitutional rights are being taken away by the HOA. We'll talk about that more after these messages.